let's have some fun with the particles GPU operator in TouchDesigner. I'm also going to show you how to use the edge operator and a little bit of noise. If you would like to download this project file that you're looking at right now, just click the link in the description. Let's get started. In TouchDesigner, you just want to go to the palette that's on the left-hand side of the screen. And then once you're in the palette, you just want to scroll down until you see particles GPU, and then click on particles GPU, drag it and drop it into the grid of TouchDesigner. I'm going to zoom out, and now I'm just going to close the palette so that we have more room in our TouchDesigner project. Now that we have our particles GPU operator placed, we're going to press tab on the keyboard again to open the OP Create dialog. So we just go to the top category and then we click on Edge. There's Edge right there. We just click on that, place that somewhere to the right of particles GPU, and then connect particles GPU to Edge. So just drag that output and connect it to the input of Edge. Right, let's go ahead and add another operator. Press the tab key on the keyboard and then go to the null operator from the top category. There's null right there. So just click on that and place that to the right of the Edge operator and connect Edge to null. Now I just want to click on the view button of the null operator that we just placed. So go ahead and click on that blue button, and now we can see our animation in the background of TouchDesigner. Now that we can see our animation in the background of TouchDesigner, go ahead and click on the particles GPU operator. In the parameters of our particle GPU operator under forces, we're just going to make sure the external force is at about -1, and then our wind we're going to change for the X parameter right here. The X parameter of wind we're going to change to -0.5. And now if we zoom out a little bit, we can see that our animation is now being blown to the left direction. And now let's go ahead and change the turbulence of our particles GPU operator. First, we're going to change the X parameter, and we're going to change the X parameter to 0.3, change our Y parameter to 0.1, and then let's change the Z parameter to 0.3. All right, so now let's go ahead and just move the null operator over to the right a little bit to make some space in between edge and noise. And go ahead and right click on the line connecting null to edge. Right click on that line and click Insert Operator. And in the top category, we just want to click on Composite. So go ahead and click on Composite and then place Composite in between Edge and Null. Now press the Tab key on your keyboard, and then in the top category, we just want to click on Noise. Go ahead and click on Noise and place that somewhere below Edge and Comp. With noise selected, go ahead and look at the parameters of noise and turn off the toggle switch that says monochrome. So that's off. Now that noise has color. Now we're going to connect noise to comp. So drag and drop the connector of noise onto comp. And now you can see we have some color in our animation. It doesn't look great. It looks a little pixelated, but don't worry, we're going to change that. Let's go ahead and press tab on the keyboard. And in the top category, we're just going to click on null, place null somewhere above noise, and then drag the output of edge and connect it to the endpoint of the null that we just dropped. And then go ahead and connect the output of null to the input of comp. And at this point, we want to adjust the parameters of the comp operator. So here are the parameters for that. We want to move null to the top. So the order of those operators in the comp operator parameters should be null, edge, and then noise. And now when we view the animation, it should look something similar to what you see on my screen. Now let's go to the particles GPU operator that we originally placed. And in the parameters of our particles GPU operator, go ahead and click on that render tab. And then under the render tab where it says texture, we're just going to change texture from leaf to circle. And now our leaves are circles. Now let's go to the particles tab of our particles GPU operator. And then in the particles tab, we just want to change particle size min and particle size max. So here we have the particle size min. Let's change that to about 0.004. Just like I have here. And then we want to change the particle size max to about 0.4. Now we zoom out and we can see that our particles are a different size than they were before. Under the render tab of our particles GPU operator, you have this toggle switch that says face camera. So go ahead and turn that toggle switch on. And now our circles are actually facing us. We want to make sure the face camera toggle switch is set to on. And then under compositing, we want to change that drop-down menu to discard alpha. And if you zoom out, we can see that our animation is actually looking quite a bit different now. And now let's make a big change. We're just going to go to the comp operator. And then from the comp operator, we want to go to the parameters of our comp operator. And in the drop-down menu that says operation, we want to change that operation to overlay. So there is overlay right there. Click on overlay. Zoom out, and now you can see that our animation is looking considerably different here. Okay, so now that our animation is actually looking pretty decent, we're just going to go to the noise operator. So click on that noise operator, and then in the parameters for our noise operator, we're just going to change the period to 2, change the harmonic spread to about 1.5. And if we zoom out, you can see that the colors have just kind of a different grouping now. So anyway, this should get you a pretty decent looking animation. You can mess with whatever parameters and whatever operators you want here to change this animation. One thing that I did is I added a sphere. I can just press tab on the keyboard and then go to the SOP category. Then from SOP, we just click on sphere. We add sphere somewhere before particles GPU, and then we can connect sphere to particles GPU. And then our circles should be generated from basically an invisible sphere shape that you can't really see. But that's one way that you can modify this project. You can change that up a little bit. And last but not least, let's make something that changes one of the parameters for our particles GPU operator. Press tab on the keyboard, and then in the chops category, we're going to click on chops, and then we're going to click on LFO. So just click on LFO. And then place LFO somewhere below particles GPU. And now in the parameters for our LFO operator, let's just go ahead and change the frequency to about 0.2. Then let's change the amplitude to about 0.4. Then let's change the type of this LFO to Gaussian. And now click on the button that says Viewer Active on our LFO. And then select the particles GPU operator. And now just hover over the LFO that we created, and then click and drag that LFO onto particle size min, drop that onto particle size min, and then click on export chop. Now, if we zoom out, you can see that that dynamically changes the size of our particles. That's about it for this tutorial because I want to keep it pretty simple and just focus on the particles GPU operator, the edge operator, the noise operator, and the comp operator. So you can do plenty of stuff to this kind of setup, but I wanted to keep it simple. So that's about it. You can download this project file by looking in the description of this video.